Joining us, we have Miss Isabel dos Santos, which is the president of Sonangol, the oil company of Angola, one of the most influential female character in Africa. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, so just introduce yourself to our viewership. You are the president of a very important company in Angola. Angola is a booming economy. Is it difficult to be such a leading figure in such a country?
Recently there have been changes in the board, so I'm a recently appointed chairman of Sonangol, our national oil company. I was appointed in June this year. Our main objectives in my mandate are to improve the efficiency, to conduct the business in a more transparent manner, to have more reporting to our shareholders, also to provide a greater rate of return to the shareholder, which is the state. And for that, we are conducting a number of initiatives that are reorganizing the company. We are restructuring our business, looking at ways on how to keep the capex down. So developing oil fields has been a rather expensive exercise over the last 5 years due to the high oil prices. Today, the market is a different place. The oil prices have dropped significantly. So we're looking at how our next development costs of new fields, how they can be cheaper so that we have an earlier break even and we have a more profitable barrel and we're able to deliver better profits for both our partners, our operators, and also the government.
And you are chairwoman of the telecommunication company of Angola as well, right?
Yes, it's a legacy. It's a company that I've worked for since 1998. I've started as an engineer. I was a project manager. I was involved in designing the network. I designed the telecom network as well as the fiber optical cable network. I worked there for 20 years. I rose from engineer to management experience. Then I worked in marketing. Then I came onto the board. And this private experience has led me today to a new challenge, which is being currently the president of Sonangol National Oil Company.
And as our viewership has already understood and assumed from your flawless English, you have studied abroad. And which kind of experience are you importing in your country in order to improve the economic condition there?
Well, I was born and raised in Angola, lived in Angola until my teenage years, and then I went to study in the UK. I was fortunate to benefit from an English education, so hence my...
Very strict rules.
Yes, correct. I'm an engineer by training. I studied maths and physics and languages. I speak 7 languages. And of course, the benefits have been that being exposed to different cultures, both European culture and African culture, I think I'm able to today understand both and act as a link in my business, in my everyday business, when relating to our partners. And we operate with companies from Europe, from Asia, from America. We have a very strong trading relationship with Italy. ENI is one of our key partners. I recently had a very wonderful meeting with the CEO of ENI.
Descalzi.
Descalzi, yes, Claudio. It was a great meeting, very enthusiastic, very strong leader. So I have a good partnership also with Italy and ENI.
Do you like Como? Do you like Chernobyl? Is this your first time here?
Yes, it's my first time. I hope it's not my last time. I find it very, very beautiful. It's a pity that I'm here in a working capacity, attending a forum, and I hope to return and to be able to spend a few days here.
We as Italians are concerned that our country is not attractive enough for foreign investments, and it's really important to be able to develop trading relationship with countries that are improving their economy at a fast pace, like Angola. What is your viewpoint if you look at the Italian economy? They said it is in a pretty bad shape. Is that the reality from what you have seen in these days and in your previous visits in Italy?
I think Italy has a great know-how. There's fantastic opportunity in Italy. Your companies are good companies that produce good products at great prices. So you're very competitive. I think taking the initiative to export more, to also go into new markets, which is sometimes a little bit difficult. It's true that you have to, once you go into a new environment, there's a learning curve. But I think there is a true opportunity for Italian business and Italian products to enter into new markets such as Africa. Just to give you some numbers, we have over 300 million people who are middle class. 40% of our population is urban. And what does that mean? That means a lot of consumer goods and consumer services. And Italy produces a lot of those. So I think there's a great opportunity for Italian business in the long run to be and work with us together in Africa.
Now let's talk about Angola. As a country which is dependent on oil, like all the countries oil dependent, you have had to cope with dropping oil prices. How did you do that in the last 6 months?
The oil market is a hard place right now. It's true that we've come from very high prices around the $100 mark down to the $40. So one big exercise that all of us had to do is to think at our structural costs. So how do we reduce our OPEX? We looked at our operational costs and how do we drop it down? That was achieved through talking to our suppliers, all the different companies that supply us services. We talked to them. We looked at ways in reducing the price of our contracts, and that allowed us to have a better margin. So today we're producing a barrel that's under $12, which makes it quite reasonable to live with current oil prices at around 40.
What do you make of the fight within OPEC? Because we see that not all the countries are aligned in carrying out the same strategy in order to lift up the price of oil.
There's definitely some challenges. I think that those challenges will have to be overcome through dialogue. Dialogue is key. However, I do think that the forecast for oil prices is rather positive because what has happened is recently there has been very little exploration. Not many companies have stopped all their exploration projects, which means in the long run the oil reserves are diminishing. So we're going to have less oil in mid-term to long-term. So I believe that the oil price will ramp up. Today we're going to probably see a steady between $45 and a $50 range for next year, but in 3-4 years we definitely will feel the backslash of the fact that we have not had enough investment over the last 5 years. So I do believe that there will be a ramp up in the oil prices.
We know that you have to catch a flight. The very last question to wrap up this interview. Talking about Africa, the African economy overall has expanded at an enormous rate in the past 10 years.
Yes.
But now it is coming to a halt, for instance, Nigeria, because of oil. When you see at Africa in 2025, what do you see?
Well, I like to take a mid to long-term perspective. I think all these cyclical issues that are actually temporary. When we look at our consumption, in 2016 there were $860 billion of trade of consumer goods in Africa. For 2020 we're going to have $1.4 trillion of consumer trade. So it's not only about oil. We have many different resources. We have agricultural potentials, minerals, service capacity. So there's a lot of other sectors that are providing growth into our economies. And most of the oil countries or oil producing countries are focusing now into the non-oil sectors, i.e. there's a lot of investment that went into infrastructure. We've built more roads than before, more bridges than before, ports, airports, energy, a lot of energy investment in terms of hydropower stations. So all of that is now quickly translating into accelerating our economies outside the oil sector.
Well, thank you very much,
Thank
Isabel dos
you.
Santos.